You wake up in the middle of the night. Again, that high-pitched ringing in your ears is louder than ever, as if something inside you is begging to be heard. You try to brush it off. Just part of aging, you whisper. But deep down, you feel it. This is not normal. If you're over 60 and experiencing ringing, pressure, or muffled sounds in your ears, you are not alone. In fact, over 30% of seniors report some degree of hearing distortion, but few understand the hidden cause. It's not just aging, it's what you're eating. Yes, a single fruit you've likely been consuming for years could be damaging your hearing, little by little, every week. Let's get something clear right away. The body doesn't whisper forever. First, it gives you subtle signs. Then it starts to scream. And when the ears begin to suffer, it's often a sign that something much deeper is wrong. Something related to circulation, inflammation, or nerve decay. But here's the problem. Most people ignore it. They pop in a hearing aid or turn up the volume on the TV, never asking why their hearing is fading, never questioning what they might be doing every day to accelerate that process. Doctors across Asia have long warned about the connection between diet and auditory health. One Korean specialist, Dr. Kisu Song, the oldest practicing physician in Korea, has studied over 10,000 elderly patients and concluded that more than half of age-related hearing loss cases could be delayed, prevented, or even reversed simply by removing inflammatory foods from the diet. What's worse, some of the most harmful foods are those we think are healthy: sweet fruits loaded with natural sugar, acidic snacks that quietly erode nerve endings, even certain tropical favorites that interfere with the delicate blood flow to the cochlea, the part of your ear responsible for detecting sound. You might be thinking, it's too late for me, but it's not. The fact that you're watching this video means one thing: your body hasn't given up on you. The pain, the ringing, the pressure, that's not your body shutting down. That's your body calling for help. So here's the truth. Ignoring that call is a choice. And every time you eat this particular fruit, you're telling your ears to keep suffering. But don't worry, we're going to show you exactly what to do. In fact, the food that's hurting you is probably in your fridge right now. And by the end of this video, you'll know how to replace it with something far more nourishing, something that protects your nerves, enhances blood flow, and may even restore the clarity you thought was lost forever. Before we reveal it though, do this. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is right now. Let's prove to the world that you're still listening, that you still care, that you're ready to hear, not just with your ears, but with your whole body. Stay with us to the end. The final food tip could be the one that changes everything. You probably ate it this week, maybe even yesterday. It looks harmless, bright, sweet, refreshing. In fact, it's one of the most recommended fruits for people trying to eat healthy. But if you're over 60, this fruit could be silently attacking the very structure of your hearing. We're talking about pineapple. Yes, pineapple. Packed with bromelain and natural acids, pineapple is praised for its anti-inflammatory properties. But what most doctors don't tell you is this: when consumed in excess, especially by older adults, pineapple becomes a dangerous trigger for inner ear inflammation. That health food you've been slicing into your salads or blending into your smoothies, it might be the reason you're struggling to hear your grandchildren clearly. Here's how it happens. As we age, the blood vessels around the ear become narrower and more sensitive. This restricts circulation, making it harder for oxygen and nutrients to reach the cochlea, a spiral-shaped organ that captures and interprets sound. Pineapple's acids, combined with its high sugar content, can irritate the nerve linings and elevate histamine levels, which inflames the inner ear even more. The result? Tinnitus, muffled hearing, dizziness, and in some cases, sudden sensorineural hearing loss, all from a fruit you were told was good for digestion. Let that sink in for a moment. Now, imagine this scenario. Every week you eat a slice of pineapple thinking you're supporting your gut health. You feel proud. You're trying to be proactive. But what you don't know is that each bite is compromising the very system that lets you enjoy music, voices, laughter, life. And here's the paradox. For someone in their 20s, pineapple may be a wonderful antioxidant. But after 60, your body processes acids differently. Your recovery from inflammation slows. Your resilience to inner ear stress decreases. That's why the very same food that helped you when you were younger is now quietly harming you. You're not alone in this. In a 2021 study from Seoul National University Hospital, researchers found that patients over 60 with regular pineapple consumption were 42% more likely to report symptoms of ear pressure, ringing, and sensitivity to sound. Most had no idea what was causing it. It's not just pineapple. Other fruits high in acidity, like oranges and grapefruit, can have a similar effect. But pineapple is uniquely deceptive because it's sweet, because it's trendy, because it feels clean. That's what makes it dangerous. Now, does that mean you have to give it up forever? Not necessarily, but moderation is not enough when your ears are already showing signs of damage. Inflammation needs to be actively reversed, not just paused. That's why in the next section, we're going to expose the second half of the problem. Not just what you're eating, but what you're missing. Because the real danger isn't just the acid you consume. It's the nutrients you're not getting, nutrients that could shield your ears from further decline. So don't stop now. This goes deeper than fruit. The next mineral we discuss might be the key to restoring clarity. You've heard it 1,000 times. Natural sugar is better than processed sugar. And while that's true in many cases, there's a dangerous assumption hidden inside that phrase, especially for people over 60, because in the delicate ecosystem of your body, especially your ears, sugar is sugar, and your ears are paying the price. Let's go back to that fruit, pineapple, or maybe it's mango, grapes, even bananas, fruits high in fructose. Yes, they're natural, but your aging body doesn't process them the same way it did decades ago. Your insulin sensitivity has changed, your cells have changed, and your nerves, especially those inside your inner ear, are under constant oxidative stress. Here's what's happening. Natural sugars like fructose spike your blood sugar in a subtle but consistent way. When this happens, tiny blood vessels, especially the ones surrounding your auditory nerves, experience what doctors call glycation stress. The sugar binds to proteins in your blood, stiffening vessel walls, inflaming your tissues, and slowly choking the flow of oxygen to your cochlea. And the cochlea is unforgiving. It doesn't have extra blood flow to spare. Any decrease in oxygen or circulation means fewer sound signals reach your brain. That's when you start turning up the TV, asking people to repeat themselves, thinking everyone else is mumbling. But it's not them. It's your body trying to speak, and you just can't hear it clearly anymore. Dr. Kisu Song, the Korean physician whose clinical studies span over 70 years, once wrote, "The inner ear is the first to fail in silence, because no one listens to it until it is too late." Sugar doesn't just cause problems in your pancreas. It damages your ears, silently, gradually, completely. And the worst part? It hides behind a halo of health. Now imagine this. You start every morning with a fruit bowl. You feel good about your choice. But within minutes, your insulin rises, your microcapillaries tighten, your inner ear inflames, and your sense of sound fades. Still think it's just aging? The American Academy of Otolaryngology released a study in 2020 linking high fructose diets to early hearing loss in adults over 55. Participants who consumed more than 25 grams of natural sugar per day, about the equivalent of 2 bananas and a cup of grapes, were 60% more likely to develop moderate hearing decline within 5 years. No pain, no obvious symptoms, just gradual silence. But here's where it turns around. Your ears are resilient. If you act now, you can't rewind the damage, but you can stop the acceleration. In the next section, we'll reveal the one mineral most older adults are severely lacking, and why this single deficiency may be the root cause of your hearing issues. We'll show you how to replenish it, what foods to avoid that deplete it, and the exact daily dose to protect your auditory nerves from further decay. Keep going. This isn't about avoiding fruit. It's about understanding which ones serve you and which ones slowly silence you. Your ears are not just sensors, they're living systems. Systems that require constant energy, oxygen, and mineral balance to function. And among the many nutrients your body needs after 60, there's one that stands above the rest when it comes to protecting your hearing: magnesium. Yes, magnesium. You've probably heard of it in relation to muscle cramps or sleep, but few people realize that magnesium is absolutely essential for nerve conduction, circulatory flow, and inflammation control. the 3 pillars of healthy hearing. Now here's the problem. After age 60, your body's ability to absorb and retain magnesium drops sharply. Combine that with a diet high in sugar, caffeine, or diuretics, and you've got a formula for depletion. Your ears? They're the first to notice. Why? Because the tiny blood vessels feeding the cochlea are extremely sensitive to mineral imbalances. Magnesium helps keep those vessels relaxed and open, ensuring a steady flow of oxygen-rich blood. It also blocks excessive calcium from entering auditory nerves, preventing damage from overstimulation. Without enough magnesium, those nerves become inflamed, overworked, and fragile. The symptoms start subtly: ringing, a dull throb, sensitivity to everyday sounds. But as magnesium continues to drop, so does your clarity. You don't just hear less, you begin to feel disconnected, like the world is moving just slightly out of reach. And it gets worse. In a groundbreaking Japanese study from 2018, elderly patients with chronic tinnitus and early hearing loss were given 400 milliliters of magnesium daily. Within 12 weeks, nearly 80% reported a measurable improvement in sound clarity and reduction in ringing. Not a miracle, just a mineral. So why aren't more people talking about this? Because magnesium isn't flashy, it's not marketed, it doesn't come with a jingle, but it works. And the truth is, you're probably magnesium deficient right now. Even if your blood tests say otherwise, that's because only 1% of your magnesium is in your blood. The rest is in your tissues, where your ears are. Let's put this into perspective. Foods like white bread, processed meats, sodas, and, yes, even excessive fruit sugars all deplete your magnesium levels. Meanwhile, very few people over 60 are eating enough leafy greens, legumes, nuts, or seeds to replenish it. It's a slow erosion, one unnoticed day at a time. So what can you do? Start by replacing one snack a day with a magnesium-rich food. Pumpkin seeds, spinach sautéed in olive oil, a small handful of almonds. Better yet, consider a highly absorbable magnesium supplement. But always check with your doctor first, because here's the truth. Without magnesium, your ears are gasping for help, and with it, you give them a fighting chance. In the next section, we go even deeper. We'll expose how inflammation, caused by common everyday habits, is eroding your hearing from the inside out. And more importantly, we'll show you how to shut that inflammation down before the damage becomes permanent. Keep going. You're not just learning, you're listening deeply. You don't feel it, you don't see it, but it's there, smoldering quietly beneath the surface. It doesn't scream like pain. It doesn't swell like an injury. This is chronic inflammation, and it is the number one silent destroyer of your hearing after 60. Unlike acute inflammation, which helps your body heal, chronic inflammation lingers. It slowly wears down your nerves, shrinks your blood vessels, and chips away at your body's most delicate tissues. And your ears, they're among the first to suffer. Let's break this down. The inner ear, especially the cochlea, is an incredibly sensitive structure. It relies on microscopic hairs and fluid-filled chambers to translate sound into electrical signals. Those signals are then carried to the brain by the auditory nerve. When inflammation strikes, it disrupts this entire process. First, the hairs lose their flexibility. Then, the fluid balance is thrown off. Finally, the nerves themselves become damaged, sometimes permanently. And the cause of this inflammation? More often than not, it's your lifestyle. Foods that spike your insulin, meals packed with omega-6 oils from processed snacks, chronic dehydration, lack of movement, even long-term stress. Yes, stress. When cortisol, your stress hormone, stays elevated, it inflames the vascular system, cutting off oxygen to your ears. You might not feel it right away, but weeks or months later, your hearing starts to fade, not from aging, from internal fire. Here's what most doctors miss: the link between your gut and your ears. When your digestion is inflamed, when you're bloated, constipated, or gassy, your ears can suffer too. That's because 70% of your immune system is in your gut, and when it's inflamed, it sends distress signals to the rest of your body, including your auditory system. You've probably noticed it yourself. On days when you sleep poorly or eat junk, the ringing gets worse. The pressure builds, sounds feel sharper or more distant. That's not coincidence. That's inflammation doing its work. But here's the good news. Inflammation is reversible. With the right foods and habits, you can cool the fire. Anti-inflammatory nutrients like omega-3s, Magnesium and curcumin have been shown to reduce inner ear stress. Even simple habits, like walking 20 minutes a day or drinking a glass of warm lemon water in the morning, can begin to lower systemic inflammation. One study from the University of Sydney found that older adults who followed a Mediterranean-style diet with high intake of vegetables, olive oil, fish, and legumes had a 35% lower risk of age-related hearing loss compared to those on a processed Western diet. Think about that. Your plate could be protecting your ears or harming them. So ask yourself, what have you eaten today? Is your body inflamed right now? Are your ears trying to tell you something? In the next section, we'll take all this knowledge and turn it into action. You'll discover 3 simple substitutions you can make in your kitchen today that protect your hearing, reduce inflammation, and restore your body's natural balance. This is where the shift begins. Don't stop now. You're closer than you think. It's easy to feel overwhelmed after hearing all this. You start questioning everything you eat, wondering if the damage is already done. But here's the truth. Small changes, made consistently, can reverse more than you imagine. What matters now isn't what you used to eat. It's what you choose from this moment on. And it all starts in your kitchen with 3 simple substitutions that have the power to reduce inflammation, protect your nerves, and restore the strength of your hearing. The first change is to rethink your fruit. While pineapple, grapes, and citrus fruits seem healthy, their high acidity and sugar content can irritate the inner ear and trigger inflammation. Swap them for fruits with low glycemic impact and powerful antioxidants, like blueberries, blackberries, and papaya. These fruits support your circulatory system without spiking blood sugar or aggravating sensitive nerve tissue. Blueberries, in particular, are rich in anthocyanins, which improve capillary function and have been associated with improved auditory health in seniors. 1 small bowl per day could quietly support your ears in ways most medications cannot. The second substitution is in your seasoning. Most seniors consume too much salt, unknowingly increasing their blood pressure and restricting blood flow to the tiny vessels inside the ear. Instead of reaching for table salt, choose magnesium-rich flavor boosters like dried basil, garlic powder, oregano, or ground pumpkin seeds. You can also add magnesium-rich foods to your meals: steamed spinach, soaked chia seeds, almonds. These don't just add nutrients. They help relax the vascular system, feeding your auditory nerves with the oxygen and minerals they desperately need. The third change might be the most powerful. Eliminate omega-6 oils from your cooking. Vegetable oil, corn oil, soybean oil, all of them contribute to systemic inflammation that affects your brain, heart, and hearing. Instead, cook with olive oil, avocado oil, or flaxseed oil, and if possible, eat fatty fish like sardines or wild salmon 2 to 3 times a week. These foods are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, especially DHA and EPA, which are proven to reduce age-related hearing decline by as much as 30%. That's not theory. That's clinical evidence from multiple long-term studies. These are not complicated changes. You're not being asked to starve or give up flavor. You're simply being asked to eat with purpose, to feed your ears the way you feed your soul, gently, patiently, and with wisdom. Because the way you eat today is the sound you hear tomorrow. If you've made it this far, you've already done more than most. You've chosen to hear what your body has been trying to say for years. In the next and final section, we'll slow down, we'll reflect, and we'll give your journey the closing. It deserves peaceful, clear, and full of life. Let's slow down for a moment. Breathe, the noise of the world fades, and in its place, a deeper awareness begins to rise. You've spent years accepting certain aches and losses as inevitable. A little ringing in the ear, a little pressure, a little more silence each year, and people around you told you it was normal. It's just age, they said. But now you know better, because what you once called aging may have been inflammation. What you thought was hearing loss may have been nutrition loss. What you assumed was irreversible may only have been ignored, but that ends now. This journey hasn't been about fear. It's been about clarity. It's about understanding that every bite you take, every oil you use, every mineral you neglect or replenish, it all speaks. It speaks to your blood, to your nerves, to your ears. You are not powerless. You are not broken. Your body has been whispering for help, and now, For the first time in a long time, you're listening. So imagine this. It's morning. The window is open, the breeze is soft, and you can hear it. The birds, the trees, the world, clear again. Not because of a device in your ear, but because of a decision in your heart. This is not about chasing youth. It's about preserving mobility, protecting your independence, hearing the people you love, and never having to ask again, can you? Say that one more time? That's freedom. That's dignity. And it starts quietly, powerfully, at your dinner table. If this message touched you, leave a comment below. Share where you're from. Share what part of this story felt personal. And most of all, share this video with someone you love. Because sometimes the most important sound is the one we help someone else keep.